Okay, hello and welcome to Plugin Along, a stream dedicated to LOTRO plugins. Last time on Plugin Along, we responded to a question from chat: why is adding currencies to TitanBar so difficult, and can we improve the process? So today, we're going to take what we learned last time, which was digging through that process, and run with it and see what changes we can make that make life a little bit easier for future developers, and possibly to the point of just being able to allow the user to add whatever currencies they want. So as always, feel free to jump into chat with your thoughts and questions. They don't have to be plugin specific, although that is what I'm mostly here for. But if they're about Lord of the Rings in general, totally fine. We're just hanging out here in Helm's Deep with the invisible frog. I don't know why there's an invisible frog, but it's there, so it's neat. You can use your F10 button to select a nearest NPC. We're just here in the little gatehouse of the main level of Helm's Deep here. You ride on up here from Helm's Dyke, run over here, press F10, and you've got your little frog. Don't know. Why not? Why wouldn't you have an invisible frog? Like, that just seems like a natural thing to have in your fortification. And it's entirely possible that is the reason Saruman failed, was Saruman did not have an invisible frog. I'm going to go ahead and get some elevation, though. I like looking out over the fortifications and the landscape. Maybe up one more level. Okay. So, we are up here. Theoden King stands over there in front of the doors to the Hornsburg, and we're just going to hang out over here and do some plugin development. Okay, awesome. So, what are we working on? In case you're not familiar with it, TitanBar is a plugin that's all about putting information at your fingertips, the information that you want to see. So, for instance, these are controls that I have put up here to track different elements of my wallet. The wallet is a thing that you can access from the radar. It's about at the 1 o'clock position. There's probably also something on your caret menu, maybe under character, wallet. And we can see I also have a keyboard shortcut X that I didn't even realize. X on my screen, on my keyboard. Maybe that's everyone's keyboard. Nope, that's definitely on mine. I don't know what key that corresponds to for a normal person's keyboard, although I'm a little curious. QWERTY layout. B? Yeah, that looks like a B. All right. Neat. B for wallet. I don't know if that's a default one or if I just put it there because I thought that'd be useful and then forgot that I did it. Anyhow, so there's things in your wallet, and this is basically pinning it to TitanBar, which is that information board up top. It also has a bunch of other things like what time is it? And what I really like about the time is that it'll let you go ahead and show it in 24-hour time and show also the server time, which is currently -4 GMT, and show them both at the same time. So we can see that while it is 8 o'clock in the evening here, it is only... That's interesting. Well, I know it's 6-hour difference, so we'll go ahead and correct that and say it is 2 o'clock there. Cool. So, showing information. We're talking about currencies today, and each one of the things on here is a control. And the way TitanBar is currently set up is that to add a new currency, one of the things you do is add a whole other file that has boilerplate code almost identical to the previous one, with just a couple of differences. And that's one of the things we'd like to address. Okay, so that is TitanBar. Let's go ahead and start looking at our thoughts from last time and maybe some code. So, just pulling up source control, we can see right now we just have a clean working directory except for this to-do file that has all the things we're going to do. So to-do file commit changes, we're going to go ahead and just commit that. And that gives us a clean working directory. In fact, let's go ahead and start a branch that we can work off of. So we're going to come in and get flow. We need to initialize our get flow. That's fine. Okay. And then get flow, we're going to start a feature. And this is going to be called better currencies. And so that's a bookkeeping thing that we can do to help us remember what we're doing. And if I wanted to suddenly switch working on better currencies to do something different, I can easily do that. But for right now, that's all we're going to do, currencies all the time. So we have a clean working directory, and that means any mistakes that we make today are going to be very easy to undo because we can revert back to where we are right now. Cool. Okay. One of the things I made note of is the problems in TitanBar extend beyond, or the problems I think there are in TitanBar extend beyond the difficulty of the currency system. So when I'm changing something, I want to make sure it is actually a currency, one of the things that we're caring about, and not something else. Maybe those changes could extend to other things eventually, but for right now, currencies. Okay. So, other thing that comes to mind, before I even get started with anything else, is that there is a control, there's a controls, it's called control. There's a folder called control, and every control goes in here. And it feels like it would be useful if the controls that we cared about went into a subdirectory, and controls that we don't care about, like Vault and Vault Tooltip and Vault Window, those could go in other subdirectories eventually. But from an organizational perspective, if we went ahead and called it, I want to say currency, but we should go ahead and check what are we calling it in game, or in the plugin. So under control, if I come into, I don't know, Yule token, or even maybe a better place would be main. All right, so we see wallet order. So wallet might be a good contender. Let's see. That's interesting. No. An error occurred in Lunarwater's plugin. Just in case that causes a problem, I'm going to go ahead and close Visual Studio Code and open it back up and see if we get the same problem. All right. So in here, we have menu item. This is happening in main. Why is this happening in main? What is menu item used for? Find all references. I'm going to get distracted, aren't I? Okay, so main has a thing that is being used by Wallet Window and Wallet Tooltip. Bonkers. And it's just called menu item, which is even worse. Oh my goodness. Do I get distracted by this? Maybe. But wallet is definitely the thing that we're talking about. So let's go ahead and create a new subdirectory called wallet. And let's move things that we think are wallet related into there. Okay, just to, let's see, Amroth. Where are these things being imported anyway? Well, we have an import control function. Let's take a look at that. Wow. Okay, so we have an app controller in main, which is where these things are. So if we had an app control wallet dir, that would be this control.wallet dot. And we could substitute that in to any place that we were moving this around. Is this going to cause us problems? Well, we're adding stuff to the global namespace right there. And that's really most of what we're doing. Although, where's this? Okay, so we're referencing things there, that's fine. So we're adding a thing to the global namespace, so it doesn't matter what directory this ends up in, I think. I guess we'll find out. Okay, so things that we care about. Money. Oh my goodness. I'm already beginning to wonder if I made a mistake. Okay, so shards. Shards is a thing that's in the wallet. So we're going to go ahead and change to that. And shards goes ahead and moves on into wallet. Okay. Skirmish marks and mithril coins. All right. Skirmish marks and mithril coins. So let's just check with that. I've got mithril coins up on my bar, so we're going to go ahead and reload a TitanBar with that change. Okay. Unable to resolve package. That's a problem. Okay, looks like importing wallet didn't work. Maybe it needs one of these things. Or maybe having something the same name as a... Yeah, maybe having this Lua name the same as a subdirectory is a problem. Well, that's easy enough to fix. Wallet controls. Okay, let's give that a try. So we're going to come back into the TitanBar and load that, or try to. Okay, TitanBar is loaded. So, lesson learned, it looks like having a .lua file the same name as a subdirectory might cause a problem. Good to know. Okay, and we can see we still have the correct number of mithril coins showing on the bar. Awesome. We can also see that the hover over for mithril coins is not correct. That's the... Let's see. Quantity of copper. That is hilarious. So if we look at the wallet controls and we look at mithril coins, why does it say that? Quantity of copper. We can see we are using MCH somewhere. We can see that this name was possibly copy-pasted incorrectly. So what we're really looking for is LMC. It is what it looks like. But is that true? LMC? Tooltip. Show tooltip when MC. Okay, if MC equals MC, cool. Oh, MCH, that's the hover over. That's what it should be. Okay. Well, MCH is that. That's so funny. Oh, it's using the same thing. I see. Oh, that's funny. This is another problem with using these abbreviations. These kinds of problems slip in. Okay, so we've conflated the copper with the mithril coin, and I don't know there's a lot we can do about that, because MC is mithril coins everywhere, but it's also copper in this case. So we're gonna just put a note here. Problems seen while working on this. MCH is the tooltip for both mithril coins and copper coins. Yes, little one. Hey. Yes, you're making noise. Okay, you beat you. I did cover this futon with all my coursework, didn't I? Okay, so we'll just put a pin in that and not worry about it. Okay, so we were looking at things to import. Great. So we have shards, skirmish marks, mithril coins, Yule token. Sure, love it. Alright, that's Yule token, tokens of Hidbolt. Such an eclectic variety we have here, and medallions. I'm just trying to do like 3 of them at a time, maybe. Alright, Yule, tokens of Hidbolt, medallions, seals and commendations. Seals and commendations. Okay, backpack infos? Really? Player infos, durability, equipment, player location. Don't care about Infinity. LOTRO points, though. Yes, I do care about that. Now, LOTRO points is an interesting one. Because they're not stored in your wallet, or they're not accessible in your wallet. And so, LOTRO points, you have to tell it how many you have, and then it will try to keep track of how many you've earned. But I don't know. I don't know that it is keeping track of you spending them, which is interesting. However, it is a part of what we're talking about here, because you can do LOTRO points. So we'll go ahead and bring that in. Defeated says it is not tracking spending of LOTRO points. Fantastic. We can see how it could be doing that if the spending of LOTRO points happens in chat. Defeated says you have to change it. Now, is the spending of LOTRO points something that happens in chat? I don't know. Is there anything I wanted to spend LOTRO points on? What are the specials? Wait, how do you show more than just those 2? Show me 28 items. Why are you, no, how about by name? Why am I not, I don't understand the new store, but I don't spend a lot of time in it. Oh, hey, oh, there's a little arrow here. Lots of recipe stuff, which maybe that's good. Not sure if it's good for me. Promotion. Can I get any more promotion points for epic battles? No, I cannot. What's the cheapest thing I can get? Mithril coin. So, for 50 LOTRO points, I could get 5 mithril coins. Maybe check my start items. Do I have any start items? Nope. Good idea, though. What's the little clock thing? History? Probably history. Okay. Ooh, emotes. I have been thinking about some emotes. Alright, character. How do you find emotes? Character upgrades? No. Collections. Emotes. There we go. How do you sort by cheapest? Price low to high. There we go. Feather emote. Toss feathers in the air in celebration. That really feels like a Hobnanigans thing. Feather. That's chicken feather. Okay. That's chicken feather. What's this? Looks identical. Okay, I'm not gonna do that. Rainbow fountain. All right, so I have fountain. Julian says, if they recall, spent LPs are not printed in chat. Yeah, I'm just curious if there was a thing I could do to verify. Fascinating. Ooh, howl?
That's a popular one.
That sounds like a thing I hear a lot at the Friday hobbiting. Red Seer's Orb is something that I've been interested in. I'm going to pin that. What on earth is a paper emote? Oh, for rock, paper, scissors, of course. And roll? Nope, that just ground roll.
Oh, yeah.
What's a roll emote? Oh, stop, drop, and roll. Okay, ground roll. That's cute. Scissors, jazz hands? Oh, and a snow wizard. That's cute. I might like that more than howling. But I do like being able to scream. Okay, so just for the testing of it, we're gonna go ahead and buy this item, and we can see in chat you now have a new emote. That's in standard. Nothing else came in. Well, I'm sorry. We did get something in whatever blue is saying you've acquired the passive skill emote Howl. You've acquired Grant Howl emote. You now have a new emote. So this would be a thing that is probably not worth it, but for anything that does put output into one of the chat channels, you could track it, you could hope to know how much it costs, you could try to deduct that. But what we did not see is you have spent 195 on a frivolous emote. Alright, but let's go ahead and take a look at it. Oops. Interesting. Okay. I can see it. I can dig it. Okay, so that's why we are in this code. Now, what would be great is documentation to this effect. So, note, we are only detecting earned because currently there is no chat output identifying how much LP we spend. Okay, cool. But in the meantime, we want to go ahead and, so app control wallet, D. We want to go ahead and move LOTRO points on in there. Okay, let's go ahead and pause, go ahead and reload TitanBar and make sure we don't see any obvious errors. Okay, it's loaded, great. Now, just to revisit what we were talking about, in the LOTRO point control, there is a LOTRO points option. So if I wanted to display how many LOTRO points I currently have, I could go ahead and type that in. Let's say I have 999. Save that and also say on the toolbar. Then it's going to use that plus any that you have gained. A little disappointing that we can't easily tell how much you've spent, but that's not a plugin problem specifically. Okay. So we'll collapse LP down. Vault, I don't think is related. Shared storage, nope. Amroth silver piece, great. We definitely want that, I think. So we're going to go ahead and control wallet. Yep. And Stars of Merit and Central Gondor pieces. Amroth, Stars of Merit, and Central Gondor silver pieces. Okay. Then Gift Giver's Brand. That sounds like one of them. I'm actually going to remove LOTRO points because it's a little bit too close to the coin symbol. Gift Giver's Brands. I could be actually using this list from in-game here. Let's go ahead and shrink that up a little bit. Okay, I don't see a way to make this any taller. That's too bad. Okay. So we have Commendation. Do we have Destiny yet? I don't see Destiny. Gift Giver Brands. Gift Giver Brands are in there, and tokens of Hidbolt are also in there. Awesome. So, Gift Giver Brands. We're going to go ahead and do that. And Bingo Badges and Anniversary Tokens. Gift Giver Badge. Anniversary Tokens and Bingo. All of those going in there. Great. Motes of Enchantment, Embers of Enchantment, and Figments of Splendor. Motes of Enchantment, Embers of Enchantment, Figments of Splendor. Fall Festival tokens, fantastic. Fall Festival tokens. There's actually two different files here, Fall Festival token and Fall Festival tokens. That's concerning. What's different about them? Let's compare. I'm using Beyond Compare, highly recommended for your file comparison needs. My tea is done. All right. So we can see things that are different. Duriel has two credits here. Fall Festival token or tokens. Same thing here. This is also just the pluralization. In fact, without saving, if I just go through here and remove the S in tokens, we can see it's all identical. But we can see that in game it's Farmers Fair tokens. Let's see. Nothing uses the plural. Now the one thing I would say is there was something about image in there, and what we want to see is wallet item fall festival wallet item. Let's go take a look at that. Alright, so Fall Festival token. So I think we can say Fall Festival tokens is not right. So we're going to go ahead and cut that file out. Fall Festival tokens. That's gone. But in the meantime, oops. Nope. This one. In the meantime, we have Fall Festival token, Farmers Fair token, and Spring Leaves. We'll move those all into wallet controls and update their location here in the code. Great. Midsummer Ancient Script. Those are both what we want. Pull them on in. Midsummer Ancient Script. Badge of Taste and Badge of Dishonor. Great. Reputation. That doesn't seem relevant. Okay. Do we think that's all of them? Well, we've got 25 things in here. We don't have the money yet, and these are not in alphabetical order, which is frustrating. But what we can do is go ahead and just, snip. What we can do is just go ahead and snip this, and then use that to kind of keep track here. So I'm actually just going to put it into MS Paint. That's a little bit easier to do what I want to do. Okay. So we're going to go use lines that are red, that are nice and thick. Great. Okay. So emerald silver pieces. Whoops. Yep. Cool. Maybe it should go the other way, actually. Commendation. We have commendations. Awesome. Destiny points. No. Okay. Let's come back in here. Destiny. Okay. So that's going to be a wallet item for Destiny points. Okay. Now we've got Destiny points. Great. LOTRO points. Yep. Mithril coins. Yep. Motes of Enchantment, Figments of Splendor, and Embers of Enchantment. Got them all. Ancient Script. Yes. Mark. I don't see marks. Mark. Apparently they were skirmish marks? That's fascinating. In which case, we do have them. Great. Medallion. They're not skirmish medallions, but they're in there. Okay. Seal? Yep. Stars of Merit? Yes. Anniversary token? Yep. Fall Festival and Farmers Fair? Yep, those are all good. Midsummer tokens? Yep, we're good there. Spring Leaf? Yep. Yule Festival? Awesome. Badge of Taste and Dishonor? I remember doing those. Shards? Yes, I don't think those are a valid thing anymore, but just in case you have some and you want to look at it. Emerald Silver piece, I remember that. Bingo Badge? Yes. Central Gondor Silver piece? I believe so. Yep. Awesome. And that brings us down to the final two, Gift Giver's Brand and tokens of Hidbolt. Yep. And yep. So that is currently 26 items. The one thing we don't have is money. And that's that control there, the money control, we want to believe that we understand this. But do I understand it? Money infos. Okay, so click turbine.shell.writeline money infos, click. So we just want to type to print out when we're clicking on a thing in case this is not the thing that we think we're looking at. So let's come on in here. Okay. I didn't see any clicks there, but where are we? Money infos table. Okay. Control of gold, silver, copper currencies. Okay, so this control here, we can see the gold control. Okay. Okay, so the icon for the gold, clicked gold. Let's see if that, if our understanding of this is at least correct. Reload. Attempt to index global money icons a nil value. Okay, that's something. I don't understand it. Oh, money info's tooltip. Okay. Okay, where is money icons? Did this work before I was breaking it? What's going on here? Well, that's an excellent question, one that we should ask ourselves repeatedly. Let's go ahead and unload TitanBar, and we have a bunch of changes here, and we're just going to stash them all in in-work, an in-work stash. I really meant to do all of it. I would like to stash all of you. Great. So we're back to where we started today. So we should be able to load this up and confirm that it's not broken. Great. So what we did presumably broke something. And that can happen. So we're going to unload this. We're going to load it back up. And it says info tooltip. So does it happen when we hover over here? No, that tooltip's still okay. When we click this, we get clicked gold. That's interesting. Oh. Money infos did move to a different place. Does that matter? It might. If moneyinfos.lua assumed the exist of something in here, it would be in a different namespace. Okay, money icons. Where is money icons used? Just in here. It shouldn't even be a global variable, but it is. Okay, I had an unsaved functions control here. That's a little worrying. Okay, well, we see 26 of them referencing these controls. And we have 26 items in here. So that's a good match. Okay, so clicking on there, I clicked gold. We are in the right place for money infos to be what we're talking about. Gnarnar asks, what editor is that? What we're using right now is the Visual Studio Code IDE, which is available for free for personal use. Microsoft website somewhere has it. And I'm also using the LOTRO API extension, which itself depends on the Lua extension, which provides IntelliSense for the LOTRO API side of things. So when we're trying to call a set font style on something, this is a LOTRO label, and we have annotations that indicate what kinds of things we can do. The Turbine UI font style outline, we get IntelliSense on what these are using the LOTRO API. I have a note here. LOTRO API for Visual Studio Code. Let me go ahead and put that into chat there. And then in case the other thing we're looking at, I'm using a fork for my source control, which wraps around a Git repository and is available from fork.dev. Because otherwise fork is incredibly difficult to search for online for some reason. Actually, it might be okay nowadays. It's gotten pretty popular. So, fork.dev, this is available, and I find it very useful. Okay, so money infos seems to be what we're talking about. So if we come back on in here to money infos, we can see money infos and money infos tooltip are both being imported. Do we feel like money infos tooltip? I think money infos tooltip is this window here. But what I would like to do is to verify that. So if we come into Money Info's window, Money Info's tooltip, it's very different than Money Info's window, we should be able to muck with it just a little bit. If we want to convince ourselves. Actually, we might not even need to muck with it. If we come into Money Infos, we can see mouse move, show it. Norsk in chat also asks, with which tool do you write this? So you can use any text editor that you want. These are just Lua files, but I am using the Visual Studio Code IDE, which is available for free for personal use from Microsoft. And I'm using the LOTRO API and Lua extensions to provide code highlighting and IntelliSense for both Lua and the LOTRO specific stuff. Okay, so the Money Infos tooltip, if I have this correct, surely there's a hide. They're just setting a global thing called tooltip win. Oh, that makes me sad. Oh, they're just... Oh, what is going on here? Yeah, that's the whole thing. I see. They're just recreating the tooltip window. That's interesting. Okay, so if we go ahead and just say that's going to be much wider, go ahead and unload this and reload this. Knarnar says maybe the thing that broke carryalls? I don't know what the specific issue is that they had to deal with. I don't actually know if carryalls are back. Nope. They turned off the ability to open carryalls, which means that you can't put stuff into it with the window open or pull stuff out of it. But the carryalls themselves still function if you need to craft or for auto slurping. If you have that turned on, they'll still function for that. I don't know for what reason they needed to turn it off. I just know that that's the specific limitation that's going on. And Arno says, yeah, it hurts us hoarders. I could see that. My basic process is to stage things in shared storage until my shared storage gets a little bit too full. Defeated says, people were exploiting the unlimited task bug. I don't actually know what that bug was, but I hope they are able to fix it soon, because I agree. Once my shared storage gets full, I'll pull specific bags out, turn on the auto acquiring, and then pull out the specific things I want to go into that bag, and then put it back and do it with the next one. So a lot of my auto acquire flags are off right now, except for my task item carryalls. The Redhead says, my guess is they were trying to do the coding change to allow for customization, changing colors or something, and this was a temporary side effect. It might be that they discovered something while they were doing that. Defeated says, that was found early on in the expansion that was fixed, but was unfixed. Okay. Yeah, so my basic process could be fine with having all of those flags turned on because ideally they're not in my inventory, but my my process gets hindered if things go into the wrong bag. So normally I like that extra safety step of it can be in my inventory, but I have to actually turn the flag on. I slurp up all the things from shared storage. I turn the flag off. And if the flag's always on, then I can't easily have multiple of them in my inventory without sometimes having stuff go in the wrong bag, and then that's worse for me than having to turn the flag on. Yeah, Ginger, that's pretty much what I do. Ginger says if you need to put things in a carryall and it is on auto gather, you can put item into your bank, make sure carryall is in bag, and then pull item from bank, and it'll go into carryall. Yeah, that feature works right now with the carryalls in their current state. The trick is there's no current interface to turn that flag on for those of us who normally run with it off. But it didn't affect my play on whatever day it was recently, where stuff was just going into my task carryalls. The problem is when Little Redhead wants to trade me things, that doesn't work. But it would work. I could put the task items into storage and then pull them back out that way. So, yeah. Don't know what's up with that under the covers. But what do we have here? We have attempt to index global money icons. It's still happening. That's fascinating. Okay, well the width is there. I was still able to get that. That's fascinating. Money info tooltips. We're going to dig into that. I think that might actually be a timing bug more than anything else. So we're going to go ahead and unload the plugin. Come on in here and, nope, not stage. Stash. It catches me that those things are so close together. We're going to stash all of those in work. Doesn't matter if I spelled it wrong because it's not going to be there for long. Okay, so we're going to load TitanBar. All right, well, it might be a timing issue, but it doesn't seem to exist in the code before I started breaking it. So definitely need to sort out why I've managed to cause that problem. All right, we're going to reapply the stash. All the files are there now. Okay. Unload or reload. Okay, I managed to trigger it again. Okay, so money infos. That's not what I wanted. Money infos tooltip. What's going on with that? Money infos tooltip. 230 is attempting to index into money icon. Money icon is getting recreated in refresh list box. But why is it doing that? This is a thing that has the icons, and that is it. It should not need to be refreshed whenever we're doing this. When is this getting called? Whenever we call show the window. Okay. So it definitely feels like there could be a race issue going on here. If this show data is getting called simultaneously? Okay. That's so weird. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and say money icons. We do not need to do that every time we refresh. We can just do that once. And in fact, it doesn't even need to be in a function. It can just be done at the file level. Okay, well, I'm now unable to easily replicate it, and it was much easier to replicate it before. So, what I'm going to guess is that somewhere between the load data call, we were recreating that, and then maybe initiating another one. Like, we had one up, I don't know. So, we were resetting that variable while another function was trying to do something with it, is my guess. Which I wouldn't have thought would be triggerable that easily, but here we go. And we can see the width of that thing is definitely being affected by the updated width that we did here. Okay, so reverting that, we can see money infos, we're in the right place, we don't need that change anymore. And money infos tooltip, this actually does feel like a reasonable fix. Moved money icons out of, changed money icons to only be initialized once. Actually, hang on. Where is this used? Literally only there. We don't need to initialize it multiple times, but what's going on? Yeah, it's fine. If this were a class a system written with more explicit object orientation with a class, that would just be a member variable that I would initialize. But it's fine going into global namespace. It was already in the global namespace. It's just more explicitly so. Okay, so change money icons to only be initialized once. That seems like a fine change. So we're going to go ahead and, whoa, come on in to this, change that, and then we'll go ahead and copy it in. So money infos tooltip, I think that was. Money infos tooltip. We're going to go ahead and move that on up into wallet controls as well, because that's an explicit tooltip for a wallet item. Most of them just have it baked in because it's just, this is your modes of enchantments, and that's it. We're going to go ahead and make sure in the code that is accounted for. Money's info tooltip and money's info both need to be pulled in here. Money's info, and that is going to be wallet directory. Okay, let's go ahead and unload, reload, and make sure everything's still working. Awesome. Attempt to call a global. Awesome. So this is money's info, where we're seeing an error. It's line 326. Not money's info window, money's info. Okay, and where is that? Okay. What's going on with these other ones? How are these impacted? They're not, because they don't have one of those. Okay, so the windows, when you click on them, that might be worth hoisting up as well. Okay, and I think I understand that more. But they're not wallet controls. Would we want them to be in wallet controls? It feels like the intent of it is just um, hmm. Okay, and what's the wallet? That's wallet and wallet tooltip. Reset tooltip win. That's fascinating. They're just as a single tooltip win, a global variable that gets used for every tooltip. Maybe it's better to reconstruct it all the time. There's a lot of tooltips in here. Okay. Mouse click. Okay, those should probably go as well. But again, there's wallet and there's wallet tooltip. And the wallet tooltip, I'm a little concerned about moving that in because again, the goal was wallet controls was just going to be controls that are hosted on the bar. Wallet windows is the tooltip also a window? And it is a window. So money info's tooltip could go in wallet windows, but we would need another variable here. Control wallet wind wallet. So a problem with this, and a reason why I'm thinking not to do it, is that while technically these are separate concerns, the reality is they're used to kind of talking about each other this way, and that concerns me because it would create namespace issues. Wallet tooltip, there's not that many of them. So we're going to go ahead and move those in for right now. Fascinating. Oh, of course. Okay, so wallet, what's wallet control? Is this the generic thing that I've been wanting to have all along? Ooh. The Rondor, you have done something very interesting here. I don't know if I would want to use it unchanged, but I'm very intrigued. Okay, but yes, I want to come back to that. Notes is wallet control the generic thing I've been wanting to make. Okay. Okay, but wallet and wallet window. Let's go ahead and move that into wallet controls, where wallet tooltip already is. And then money. Is there any money? Money info's window. I think that sorts us out there. Okay, so wallet and wallet tooltip, they're over here. Great. I'll make this a little bit smaller. MI money infos, those are also in the wallet, infos and tooltip. The money infos window, I'm a little concerned about. Where does that get imported? Okay. Money infos, WI, destiny points. Yep, that's done. Shards, great. Skirmish marks, mythical coins, yield tokens, tokens of Hidbolt, medallions, seals, commendations. Now, what's interesting is that we don't really have a separate section. Wallet. Non-wallet. Like, we would like to have a separate section for wallet and non-wallet items. So backpack, player info, durability, equipment, player location, track items, infamy, day and night, and we get back to the LOTRO points, but just temporarily. So we're going to go ahead and move that up here. Game time, vault, shared storage, emerald silver pieces, and then we start doing stuff we need again. But I shouldn't be moving stuff around yet, because we have other unfinished, uncommitted changes. Let's come back in. Okay. So, to do reorder the items in functions key control.lua. And what is that? Functions to sort the wallet items together. Okay, so don't get distracted with that. Let's go ahead and at least reload this and make sure everything seems to work okay. So we have a window over here. If we click it, we get that. We have this. If we, oh, no, wallet unable to resolve wallet window. All right. That's wallet.lua. Let's go take a look at that. $59. We're doing an import. Yeah, app control wallet dir. Okay, so we can open that. LOTRO points also causing us problems. All right, that's 81. The LOTRO points window, I think I missed it. I did. Okay. And this is also going to be wallet D. Okay. So, LOTRO points, a quick little way to save how many you have. Great. Clicking on this. Clicking on that. Awesome. That gives us some basic non-breaking functionality. Let's come on in and start making some commits here. Yes, code file. That's just a helper file for Visual Studio Code. It's tempting to just ignore it, actually. Do I have a git ignore file? Probably not. Let's make one. A git ignore file is a way to tell git, or whatever your source control is. You'll have a .ignore file. So if we make a .git ignore, and we go ahead and edit it, we're going to include .vs code. And so without it, we can see, oh, actually it's settings.json. Settings.json. So we've added that, and suddenly the file that we didn't want is gone. What we have in its place is an ignore file. So added git ignore file. Cool. Okay. So we have a bunch of files that we're moving. Ideally, source control is going to be able to line those up and identify that these are all moves. And if we didn't change anything in the meantime, we can see, oops, that's a necessary one. Okay, money infos, yeah. Most of these are just renames, and a few of them are renames plus a little change. And a good source control will be able to line up deletes and adds as renames as long as there's not too much different in the files. If you've changed a lot while you're renaming it, it can make it harder to auto-identify that that's a rename and not just you deleted that file and added a brand new, very different file. So I do like to put the renames without any other extraneous changes as often as I can. All right, Fall Festival tokens is being shown as just deleted. Oh yeah, that's going to be a separate commit. Okay, so we've moved all of these. We need also to update all of these imports, and we need the new variable that we're referencing. Okay, so moved wallet controls into their own directory. Now, why did we do this? That's a lot of work we just did for essentially no visible change in the plugin UI. Well, it's because there's a lot of controls in here that do not matter for what we're talking about. And we don't want to be mucking about with something here when we're really just trying to focus on the wallet subsection. Now, is this actually a good idea? I don't know. From a maintainability perspective, I think it's really neat and useful. But it means that if someone downloads this patch, they're going to have all these files duplicated because when you download a patch, you can't delete old files. All you can do is put new ones in place. So if someone downloads TitanBar and then downloads this patch, it's not friendly. And so I might end up undoing this. But for right now, it makes it easier to think about. And maybe we'll undo it at the very end and it'll go back to just being in place stuff. Ideally, though, a lot of these are going to get deleted. So maybe it won't matter so much at that point. Okay. So I don't know if it's a good idea, but it's easy enough to undo later now that we know what we needed to do in the first place. Okay. So now that we just have these things to play with, we can have an easier time of doing things like saying, is there anything significant in this file? Actually, I want to back up and take a look at that wallet control that we were looking at. I want to see how similar it is to the controls that we're talking about. Let's just use Yule as an example. Okay, so we can see that they're expecting icon to come in, the string of it to come in. And the tooltip of it to come in. Those are all things that you would need to bring in. Yeah. And init equals icon str/pw and tt. What do I think pw means in this context? Pw equals... Okay, now one thing we can see is that they're switching away from that global model, which I think is admirable in general, but requires a lot more change up front. And right now I'd like to focus on one thing at a time. Blaine thinks PW might be personal wallet. I mean, sure, that's as good as anything. PW equals init dot PW. Yeah, maybe. This is why I struggle with code that's like, we're going to abbreviate everything. Why? Why do that to yourself? Or at least comment what they're supposed to be. Like here, Yule token. What is YT? It's Yule token. Great. I don't necessarily agree with the abbreviation, but it works. Okay. I think moving towards a class-oriented system, it's fine. I don't think it's necessary for what we're trying to do right now. But I do like the genericization that's going on here. So we might use it as inspiration. Actually, what I'm really curious is is it used anywhere? And I'm guessing the answer is no. All right. Wallet controls. Nope, I need it to be wallet control. No, wallet control is not used anywhere. And that makes sense. Okay. Okay, what we're going to do is I'm going to take a quick break. And when I come back, we're going to be looking at, well, unless I get distracted, we're going to be looking at how each of these is going into a global table and how I would like it to maybe be going into a global table called wallet.asp, for instance. And is that a good idea? Or is it worth doing? And so, yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, in chat, Zeus asks, can someone explain why we have temporary carry-all restrictions? Well, to a limited extent, yes. So, as posted over on the forums, let's see, under service news, there was a temporary carry-all restriction post put up on, I think, Saturday. Scalesy says, welcome back. Thank you. The following carry-alls have been temporarily disabled due to a bug. Crafting task item Essence and Tracery and Healer's carry-alls. These carry-alls continue to craft and complete task quests using items already placed into them, and carry-alls previously set to auto-gather will continue to do so. So, disabled is kind of a broad term. I would say the ability to right-click open carry-alls has been disabled, but the carry-alls themselves are are working otherwise normally. The SSG and Cord here were not stating any extra information about why they did it, but we can hazard a guess that there is some aspect of using a carry-all that some malicious players were able to take advantage of that this temporary change fixes or addresses, allowing them to do a better job fixing the underlying issue in code without having that maliciousness be present. This is an MMO, so item duplication glitches are always a thing that that some bad actors will look for and will be a concern for the development team. But I don't know that we know what specifically was the problem, other just that this presumably stops any bad actors from taking advantage of that problem. I don't know. I don't think we've been seeing a timeline on when it's going to come back. But I guess I'd be surprised if it was not high on their priority list, given how many people really enjoy carry-alls and making use of them. But anything that's in your carry-alls, you can get it out by crafting. You can get it out by you can put stuff in by auto-gathering it in there. And if something's already in your inventory, as we've already mentioned on this stream, you can drag it into something like shared storage and back into your inventory. And if your carry-all has the auto-gather feature, it'll get automatically put into that carry-all. So go forth knowing that you can use your carry-alls in that somewhat limited capacity, and that presumably this is a high priority for them, whatever the bug might be. I don't know if there's an expected patch this week coming out, but if there is one, I know that they would probably hope to have a fix in there for it. And if there's no patch this week, then presumably soon. And that's assuming it can be fixed on the client side. If it's only a server side change, then they can do it whenever. Zeus asks, so we have not been notified of what the bug is. I can't speak for all people everywhere, but the specific bug is not listed in this post that Cordovan put out there, and I haven't seen anything delving into what it is. If there's something on the forums going into further detail, I haven't seen that yet. Again, it's just a speculation. I, of course, don't work for SSG, and I don't have any insider information. But that's the best guesses that I have of what's going on, is that some sort of malicious actor as a player is able to do something that the game designers did not intend to be possible. Okay. That being said, let's talk plugin to some degree. Okay. So things that I was thinking about. The position in the namespace of these tables and putting them into a subtable is a lot of work for, I think, maybe not a lot of benefit, given that I think a lot of these files are going to disappear. So on second thought, let's move on to something else that will definitely help. And these settings, like show mithril coins, if we can genericize these, I think that'll be a lot better towards getting us in this ability to eliminate these extra files. So what I want to do is figure out the correct way to genericize all of these show variables as the first part of a much longer set of genericization. So we have show Mythril coins, Mythril coin, background color alpha, red, green, blue, and the location X, location Y, and the where. I think those were all represented here. Yep. These are the settings that I want to work with first. And I'm guessing wallet control had, show me. What else? Yeah, they had some defaults. Setting dot name, because they were able to genericize how to get the name, and v. Oops. Show me. Now that's an interesting point, is they've gone the other route and have a class to clump all this data together instead of using global arrays. And my instinct is that's a harder point to get to right now. But that we'll be able to switch over to that later if we want to. Okay. So I'm going to close wallet control and just make my own mistakes. So we want a global way of referencing showing stuff. And I don't see anything in the controls that references this show, so we don't have to worry about a namespace issue. Functions, function menu, settings. Settings is maybe a reasonable place to start this. That's in load settings. I'm confused what this is. Most of these strings should be in localization files, and I believe they are, so why are they here too? Deprecated code that hasn't been cleaned up yet, question mark? That's funny. Okay. So without load settings, what else do we have here? Sorry about that comment, but I need to be able to collapse this thing. We also have save settings, we have reset settings, replace control. Fascinating. Okay. Globals that are used by settings. Oops. So we have in chat, Zeus says, can you make a plugin talking future tense for carryalls? I'm not sure I understand, Zeus, what you are asking. Make a plugin talking future tense for carryalls. I'm not sure what that's asking, but as Arthur points out, the plugin API doesn't currently acknowledge the existence of plugins doesn't acknowledge the existence of carryalls as a thing that can contain other items. So while plugins can notice that carryalls are in your inventory or in your shared storage or personal storage, plugins don't have the ability to delve into them and interrogate what items are in there and how many of each item are in there. So in general, right now, plugins are limited to a certain extent. Now, an upcoming change that SSG has said that they're interested in is the ability to rename carryalls. And in that sense, when that happens, it'll be a lot easier for a plugin to know what items are in a specific carryall. But a lacking, just like we saw with the LOTRO points in TitanBar, is that if you manually add or remove items to a carryall, there's no chat notification that tells you that. Defeated says they think it's on beta at the moment for the renaming of carryalls. So if you manually put a stack of things into a carryall or click an item and press the arrow, right now there's no chat message to show that. And because there's no API interface for knowing about changes for a carryall, a plugin can't track those changes. So if you're meticulous about always using the crafting interface to remove stuff from a carryall and always using, the pulling from shared storage to put things into a carryall, then a plugin could know pretty precisely what items are in each of your carryalls, especially if you've named them uniquely when that feature is available. But if you don't do that, if you manually remove items and you want to give them to someone else, then the plugin would need to offer some way to update its content, update its internal tracking, just like TitanBar offers a way to tell it how many LOTRO points you have. So all that being said, I'm not exactly sure what your question was, but in general, that's the limitation for carryalls from a plugin perspective. So there's an improvement coming with the naming of carryalls, but we still have that large hole in knowing what's in a carryall because users can move things in and out without a plugin being able to know that that happened. I say that. A dedicated enough plugin could know what you have in your shared storage and personal storage. And a plugin could notice that you got something in your inventory without any chat notification. It wasn't a loop message. It wasn't in one of your shared storages. The things in your shared storage and personal storage didn't change. You have this thing in your inventory. You have a carryall in your inventory, and we think that thing was in the carryall. I think a plugin at that point could pretty conclusively determine that, yes, that came from a carryall. But it would be guesswork, or informed guesswork. Yeah, if you didn't have 500 Eorlingus Skarn in your shared storage or personal storage, or more precisely, if the thing that you now have in your inventory didn't exist over there, and it did exist in a carryall, or vice versa. Now, trading is interesting, but I think if you trade with someone, you get a message in L chat channel saying the trade is completed or not. I'd have to check that. But you could attribute a sudden increase or decrease in your inventory to a trade if you do get a chat message saying the trade was canceled, the trade is completed successfully, those types of messages. So if you didn't have a trade happen, you could probably pin the blame on you suddenly having or not having an item on a carryall. Now, you wouldn't know which carryall that it went into, but you would know which carryalls you have in the inventory at the moment. And if they all have different names, then you would know what it went into. If they don't have different names, you would know that it went into carryalls in general, like, don't know where it is, but the general carryall bucket. I think an inventory tracking plugin that wanted to go above and beyond could do a lot, especially when especially when carryall renaming is a thing. But it's a lot of busy work for the plugin to work around the fact that right now there's not an API interface that says, please tell me when something is added to or removed from this carryall. Let me know what's in it right now. Please tell me when that changes. And that's a feature that SSG has the ability to add, but not necessarily the current desire and drive to add. So that's where we're at there. But I like brainstorming what's possible, even if it's not easy. It's just a fun thing. Okay, Mithril. Show Mithril. Okay, so the global show variables. I think the funny thing is we could use this in places that aren't directly connected to the wallet. Show wallet is obviously a part of that, but well, let's just start small. We'll go ahead and do, let's say, view, editor layout, split up. Yeah, that sounds right. Okay, so show wallet. We want to find all the instances of show wallet with that exact spelling and that exact everything. And we're going to go ahead and start modifying it. So this is going to be show, and the value in that is going to be wallet. So that's what we want to replace it with. So this is going to be if show wallet, that's going to be show that. This is going to be show wallet, yes. And we're just going to go through and we're going to make this change and see how we feel about that. Equals not show wallet, that equals this. If that, yeah, Zeus says in chat, a plugin can detect things being added or removed from a carryall using chat. Item removed from large crafting carryall. All of your crafting carryalls have the same name for a given size and type. So a plugin can't currently know which of your large crafting carryalls you have done. And for instance, large crafting carryall, some of us have more than is good for us, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So a plugin can know it was in one of those 15 large crafting carryalls, and with a name change, that might be better. The problem is, and I can't demonstrate it for you because of the current restriction, but if you manually remove something from a carryall, that doesn't show up in chat. And if you manually move something into a carryall, that doesn't show up in chat. Not insurmountable problem, but a current state of affairs. Okay. Okay, show wallet, replace that. Show wallet. Fortunately, these are very distinct names. Show wallet and show wallet. Okay. So we want to go ahead and save all. And we just want to go ahead and reload the plugin and see if we broke things right on the bat. Hide that, show that, awesome. So it says all you need is to figure out how to make a number for each carryall or rename them. Certainly if you can uniquely name all of your carryalls, that would help. Right now there's no way to rename carryalls. That's coming. It's on the beta server, we have heard. But a plugin would want to account for people not doing that. So a generic, it's in some of your unnamed carryalls would be a very welcome addition to it's in one of these specific named carryalls. So your named carryalls or just one of the other ones, not sure which. And you can again divide that by sizes. It's in one of your smalls, your mediums, your larges. Okay, so we have updated unvariable. I'm in fact going to close a bunch of those things. What I'm interested in is updating each of these global variables in this one instance to get a sense of what that looks like. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go ahead and so I suggest you would just have to name the spaces each are in. Maybe. There's lots of different playstyles out there. I certainly take advantage of naming the bins that my carryalls are in right now. But I have more carryalls than I have tabs in my shared storage. So I happen to know which crafting carryalls are what within a bucket in my shared storage. But again, currently possible to know that things are in or were removed from a carry-all using those chat messages. It's just not possible to know about the person. Sorry, it's not possible to know without lots of extra work when you have moved something in or out of a carry-all manually, which we cannot demonstrate right now because carry-alls are currently slightly disabled. Okay, so other thing to think about is we have these red, green, blue, and alpha background characteristics, which are just horribly named. And our question is, why are they done like that? And the answer is, I don't know. The instinct I would have would be to do a direct thing, background alpha, and we could just do BG or BC alpha equals this, and then this would be an entry in there, BC alpha WI. Though again, why WI instead of wallet? Not sure. Could go ahead and change that to wallet. What's going on with WI? Zeus says, I also want to say that all it would mainly be doing is writing text from one area to another. These are all changes. Yeah, if the people at SSG made movement in and out of carry-alls a little bit more accessible to plugins could do a lot more with it. But as it stands, without any changes from the SSG side, it's trickier to know what's in and not in a carry-all. Okay. So the stickler in me would like to just have a BC, and again, I think that's background color equals a table, and within that, BC.alpha equals a table, and then this would transform to BC.alpha of wallet equals this. Because otherwise, like just having alpha or even something BC alpha, I feel like it gets rid of the fact that your background alpha, RGB alpha and RGB values, these all are collectively a thing, and they need to stay together. They need to be considered together. Just like your position, your X and Y position, they shouldn't be disparate. Yeah, Tellurian is saying perhaps better than I did. Currently, you only see a chat message when movement from the carry-alls is automatic. When you remove something, it's not mentioned in chat. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so the position, the left, the top, and why are those different than your XY? Don't know. That's interesting. Why do we even have those settings? Yeah, Tellurian, I don't know why I'm doing it too, but I'm saying plugin instead of carry-all, and sorry if I've infected you, but plugins are on my mind, carry-alls are on my mind, and apparently my brain's just like, those are basically the same thing. Okay. Oh, is it true? If you got your carry-all open, if you hit the collect button, is there no chat message for that? It's only when you're automatically slurping it in. That's fun. That's interesting. Yeah, I would love just an event handler for the plugin API that just says, hey, let me know if something gets added or removed. And that's the kind of a broad-based support for event notification that I would love for plugins, so they didn't have to rely on chat parsing and other tricks to get a sense of what's going on. All right, bc.red equals a table, bc.green equals a table, and bc.blue equals a table. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So any place where we see this, I would like to replace it with this. So Zeus says, okay, all carry-alls are limited at the moment to have all items have to be added automatically. Possibly. Specifically, they listed out crafting, task item, essence, and tracery, and healer's carry-alls. For instance, an instrument carry-all might not have that restriction. Let's go take a look. Do I have any instrument? Yes, I do. It's in my others tab. Works great. So we can, in fact, demonstrate what we were talking about before. If I have this brusque bassoon, and I pull it out from... Oh, well. Which chat channel do we think that is? Loot? Okay, so we can see in the loot channel, we get gathered brusque bassoon, but we see if I pull out a brusque bassoon, there's nothing. If I manually draw it in, there's nothing. And if I hit gather, oh, nuts. I forgot my healing clarinet. Wait a second. I need to make a note to myself. Okay. Oh, Tillian points out housing carry-alls and die carry-alls also do not fall into those. So we can take our housing and die carry-alls and we can open those up as well. So if I had a recipe that consumed a sprightly fiddle and I executed that recipe, we would get a chat message that it pulled the sprightly fiddle out of my carry-all to make something. Tillian says, I often had the problem. Did a reordering, pressed collect, and oh no, that shouldn't have been in that carry-all. Yeah, I try to be careful about hitting collect all button, and then I'm a silly person and don't do that. Okay. Zeus asks, so until they make it so text is also made for taking stuff out, yeah. It's not that you can't have a plugin tracking what's in carry-alls. It's that it's very difficult because of what you're seeing. If I pull out this sprightly fiddle, a plugin has to kind of know what was in my shared storage, what was in my personal storage, and it thinks, oh, well, I didn't see a sprightly fiddle disappear from either of those, and you got a sprightly fiddle, and I think there was one in your carry-all, therefore I think it came out of your carry-all. So it's a little bit of investigation work. But I think you could have it be reasonable, and especially if, when you do a trade with someone, if there's any message that says the trade happened successfully, then... I wonder if anyone I know is on the server. Well, if Little Redhead happened to pop onto Treebeard, we could demonstrate whether or not a trade produces a message. But otherwise, yeah, that's a limitation on plugins, is that they would have to know exactly what's in each of your places, your inventory, your storages, whatever, and check. Oh, you suddenly got 200 Khazad Skarn. Well, did any of your stacks of Khazard Skarn in your inventory suddenly, change? You might actually be able to track that more directly. Did you have it in your shared storage? Did you have it in your personal storage? Did I think that you had it in your carry-all with all of that? So I think, Tellurian, if there's a message about trade, the other thing would be about receiving an in-game mail. If you get something in the mail and you attach it there, do you get notification that lets you distinguish that from anything else? Those mail and trades are kind of the biggest things. I mean, just getting rewards from a quest. Can you distinguish that you can know that you just completed a quest, so you can think, okay, that was probably that, if it happened at approximately the same time. Well, Rose has come online. If Rose comes to where I am in Helm's Deep, we might be able to try that out just as a fun thing to do. And maybe Rose could send me something in mail. Okay. So, yeah, there's challenges to having a plugin track what it thinks are in each of your uniquely named carry-alls at the moment. And those challenges could maybe be overcome, but it's a lot more work than simply telling you what's in your inventory, where there is a clear way to ask the game, please tell me what's in my inventory. And so it's definitely a more intimidating amount of work to be looking at. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and reload TitanBar with the change that we just made. That's good so far. And what we can see is that we're starting to get to the point where we could genericize this, because we already have this key, wallet. So actually we can do that. Local current item current setting equals wallet, right? In fact, I'll just call it current because it'll be fine. So if we did this, we could do settings current instead of .wallet. Then settings variable current equals that. And we can do the same thing with each of these. .wallet dot, if we just go ahead and replace that with current. Well, I do need to retain that dot, don't I? I just heard a goat. But we can also do the same thing. If we don't need that to be wallet, we can just say current. And current. And that's the goal that we're going toward. Hey, it's a rose and bloom. Do a little wave. Okay, so if I do a start secure trade and the window pops up, and if I give Rose a Bjorning's honey cake, there's a little lag going on. That's interesting. Well, we'll just let that sort itself out. Gnarnar says, thanks again for showing us all of this. Back to work for me. Fair enough. You're welcome, and glad you could join us for a little bit. Okay, you know what? I'm going to drag over this Bjorn's honey cake, and maybe Rose can give me something else that's in Rose's inventory that can be divided up. Okay, how about a Yarrow root? And then we're going to go ahead and trade. Now, in a different channel, standard, okay, trading items ... trade finished you have acquired. So it would be possible to link these together, trade finished, whatever shows up as you have acquired : we can go ahead and account for that as a traded item. Cool. I wonder if Rose could send me this Yarrow root back in a mail message. Okay, now we just saw trade finished, and I didn't get a message about what had left my inventory. So a plugin would have to kind of, when you see the trading images, kind of take a snapshot of here's what we have, and then when trade finishes, it can do a diff on that, your current state versus that snapshot, and say, okay, this is what you lost. Okay, so Rosenblum has sent me a Yarrow root. If I detach this, that is sad. I see nothing in chat, in general, any of my channels, that indicates that I just got Yarrow from a mail. Yeah, that's a definite complication because people mail things around all the time. Now, you could have a plugin where you'd be like, I'm about to get stuff from mail, so it knows to allocate those things appropriately. But you've just made it a lot less likely to be correct. Okay, that's a definite challenge. Well, thank you very much, Rose. I'm going to give you back this Yarrow root. May you die in peace. Wait, no. That doesn't sound good. Awesome. Okay. Leaguer says, what server is this? They think Arkenstone is number 1. This is the Treebeard server, which I think is the number 1 legendary server for LOTRO. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and change out these 8 variables here. Yeah, Little Redhead points out between trading items and trade finished that they could be hitting things on the side or something else and acquiring other things. I think actually if you enter combat, trades windows close. Opening boxes, that's certainly true. But the trade finished when you get something, you have definitive evidence that that came from the trade. But absolutely, if you are giving stuff away, there's no message there. Zeus, absolutely. It's the only legendary server right now, so it must be the best. Yeah, so all of that being said, I agree with Tellurian that any plugin right now that was attempting to tell you what was in your carryalls is going to be likely to be incorrect, and without a very good way to fix that problem. Now, using an external tool like the LOTRO Companion, the LOTRO Companion, you could have an import script that kind of synchronizes things, but it's kind of a clunky way to do it. So I think for the near future, until there's a better interface for LOTRO plugins to query what is inside of a plugin, you're not going to see too many plugin authors attempt to support telling you what it thinks is inside your carryalls. Now, that'll get a little bit better with the renaming that's coming, but we still have these fundamental problems that you can acquire things or lose things without getting chat messages to explain why that has happened. And a plugin would need to then say, well, I don't know what happened to these things. And that's, that's a lot of effort to support not knowing things. So, okay, interesting stuff. Thanks very much, Rose, for jumping on and helping me demonstrate some of the some of the limitations that we're currently experiencing. Zeus says, wait, we are having renaming? Well, it's currently being tested on the beta server Bullroarer, the ability to rename your carryalls. So it's not available on the live servers yet, but it is something that SSG has been trying to make happen for a while, and it is looking like it will make it to live servers if they don't discover any serious issues during testing, which is pretty cool. Oh wow, I have just entered the Rohan chat channels.
You went offline.
My connection with the chat server has been lost and been reestablished. Well, that's exciting. All right, well, we'll wave goodbye here to Rose. Zeus asked, is beta active? I don't know, but I do know if you go to forums.lotro.com, there's a whole section for the Bullroarer public preview server, and you'll find the general information about Bullroarer there. So Let's see. Looks like the last beta is closed. It was open in April 17 to April 19, but you can keep an eye on this forum here if you want to know when the next one's going to be available. Carryall. Players may now apply custom names to their carryalls. These names will not appear when stored in the vault.
Oh.
Interesting. Please note the custom name will not shown is stored while the carryall is in the vault. Upon return to the inventory, the custom name will be restored to the carryall. What an interesting concession. I don't think that will really affect the way that I interact with my carryalls because they're always in a specific order in the vault. But I think that's a really good starting point. Oh yeah, Tellurian says that they got a glance at it. You could rename it. The name was not displayed in shared storage. After retrieving it, the name was back. Yeah, absolutely. So what I'm curious is that reflected in the name that you get from a plugin? Can a plugin see that that is the name of it? Or is it done in some other way that's just on the tooltip, but not the underlying not the underlying name of it? So lots to see. Was that the only carryall mentioned? People are responding. Cool. So that's how you can know more about that, Zeus. Kata, why are you up on the stove?
There's butter.
Are you licking the butter?
No, don't lick the butter.
I mean, I can understand. Butter is
Hey,
tasty.
Don't lick the butter.
Awesome. Julian says, I did not pay attention on chat messages. No worries. No worries. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and replace this, all instances of this, with bc.red. So instead of alpha, we're going to red, and that's going to be, again, well, we can't do current everywhere, but we'll go ahead and say wallet, and we're going to go ahead and find all those places where this is used. So that's here, there, there, there. Okay, great. That's the same thing I was already complaining about. That's fine. So if we go ahead and save all of this and just reload our plugin. Right, everything still looks okay. Not that I'm actually fully exercising it, but just as a general, how does it look? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and try to accelerate this a little bit. So we want to go ahead and change that to green. So we're going to find this everywhere. Okay, so in settings, we're going to change that. And then all the other places as well. Okay. And we'll do blue as well. So Then the other two in settings here. Cool. Okay, so those are the background color, alpha, red, green, blue. What we want to look at next are the location. And again, I want to go ahead and separate these out a little bit. So LOC equals an array, and LOC dot X equals, sorry, I said array, I meant table, and dot Y equals. So again, these are at least a little bit associated. And so what we want to do is find all uses of this, understand why it's in the global. I don't understand why it's in the global, but we're going to change that and hopefully not break it in the process. So what we want this to look like is loc.x of wallet. Cool. So we're going to go ahead and fix that. Anywhere else in settings we see it? And we're nixing the global one until we see a reason not to have it there. The global designator. Okay, I understand what that is now. I think the cat that got butter has gotten a little squirrely. Okay. So, is it still having problem? It's fine. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and save all, and then we're going to come on in and reload this. Okay, it's loaded up. That's good. If we move it over to where it's almost with the LOTRO points, we can see it's still there. Awesome. So we've got the LOCX. We're going to go ahead and do LOCY. So it's going to look very similar, but we want to go ahead and every place that had this old LOCY, we're going to replace with the new one. Great. That replaced all of those. And we'll go ahead and double check that as well. Save all, reload. Bam. Okay. So the last two are more of a position. But left and top, X and Y, I don't understand why these things are there. But I will say I'm just going to put them into lock because... Oh, that might be the window position, left and top. Why do you have that instead of X and... I don't understand. Hang on. Money window. If we come on in to destiny points, we can see there's an X and Y there. It's really... those are really window locations at that point. So we're going to say lock W equals a new table, and lock w.x equals a new table, and lock wy equals a new table. for location of position of window, position of controls, background color of controls, show boolean for visibility boolean for controls. Okay, we'll go ahead and label that a little bit. So now we can go ahead and have lock W X be what we use here. So let's find all the places where where that is used and fix that up. So this is just for those ones that have a window. It looks like. Now, why am I using X and Y instead of left and top? No particular reason. Actually, left and top might be better because that is what we are talking about here, right? When we set position, it's expecting a left and a top. So in that sense, let's maybe consider fixing that. Oh, I can see why they did it, because they had a left and top for the window. Yeah, okay. Okay, so let's actually fix this up. For all places that we have a lock.x, we're going to fix that. So that's actually going to be lock.left. Now, I'm already reconsidering, because location isn't the way the game calls this. It calls it position. So I think we're already in a position where we want to fix this up even more. So instead of lock.l, I want it to be position. Okay, so that's position.l, position.l. Position, position. Position, position. Position, 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 position. Great. So let's come back into settings and also do the same thing for this. We want to go ahead and rename that to position W. Great. So we're going to save all, and we're going to come back in here, and then we have position ly. We want to go ahead and fix this as well. So in settings, that's now position.l. Okay. And we're going to do the final one here, which is using position dot. You know, it's still tempting to just call that left instead. I should do all my changes in one instead of incrementally. Okay. That being said, position.l, we're going to go ahead and rename. And then position.y, we need to rename that as well. I'm a little worried that we're only finding it in this one place, though. Alright, so that's going to be top. But we'll see that in other positions if there's a problem. All right, position here. We're going to go ahead and call that left as well. And then we can see set position window left of wallet. That makes a lot more sense to me. Okay, so we need to do this one as well here. We're going to find all the instances of that, and we're going to be using... Oh, hey. Any of that exist? Nope. Okay. So this will be top. Great. And we need that to be position top of wallet. Nope, don't want that. Great. So it says I only typed 3 letters of left. That's entirely possible. Well, I don't know if I got it or not, but let's go ahead and save all, and then see if we can load this without a error. All right. Attempt to index global lock. Fantastic. That is functions. Perfect. Okay, so position L, that needs, or lock L, that needs to be position left. Great. Naaman in chat asks about plugins. Well, as someone, I do not work for SSG, so I cannot comment on whatever work they are doing behind the scenes to work on server performance or client performance. But I, as a person in the community, while I can't do any of that, I can play with plugins. So that's what we're doing here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and grab these and these. And that tells us that these LOCs also got missed. Well, let's see why. Yeah, Defeated points out a lot of players like plugins. You certainly don't need plugins to play the game, but I find they make my experience better. But I feel like it's a false equivalence to think that time spent developing plugins, which is something the people at SSG don't do. They don't write plugins. That's something community members do because we like to make the game a more interesting experience for ourselves and for other people. So I think it would be a false equivalence to compare the time players spend on plugins and the time that SSG spends on making the game better. Naaman wants people to know that they think the Gibberish plugin is awesome. I don't think this plugin would satisfy all the needs or wants that I have for a plugin, but it certainly looks interesting. For instance, I don't think that this could show me all of the deeds in game, like most of the deeds in game, like the deed tracker plugin, or give me a bearing and direction, a bearing and a distance for a target, like the waypoint plugin can do, or even show me a collection of information at the top of the screen, like the TitanBar plugin can do, which is what we're working on today. Wow, my connection to the chat server is just not having a good time today, is it? Lager would like me to fix lag. Unfortunately, that's not something a plugin developer who does not work for SSG can do. However, when people say lag, it does encompass a bunch of different things that can have very different causes. So, for instance, problems with your computer are outside of SSG's purview. Problems with the network between you and your service provider, that can cause issues. Problems with the connection between the service provider and SSG's service provider can cause problems. Problems with the hardware or the software at SSG's ends can cause problems. And there can be fun mixtures of the two that will just cause you to pull your hair out if you have any. So using the term lag, when you say, I'm experiencing lag, if you are not any more specific than that, it does tend to have people who understand that there's a difference suspect that you haven't isolated where the problem is yet. Lager says 90% packet loss on server. I'm not sure, Lager, how you're getting information on SSG's server performance. Maybe you're saying you're having 90% packet loss on your client, like in game here. I forget how you make the little symbol show up, but a little chain symbol that shows you the what your connection is. Connection. Show connection status. This thing? Where'd it go? I know that thing shows up somewhere. Oh, there it is. Okay. So if you are talking about this thing is telling you information about your personal client, but it's not telling you things about the server. And it's certainly not telling you why there is packet loss. And as I just mentioned, there can be a lot of different reasons for packet loss that do not actually involve Standing Stone Games at all. If your ISP is dropping packets, or if they're doing work on the line and that's causing interference in some strange way, or if there's a shark numbing on the underwater sea cable between Europe and America and you're on one side and SSG is on the other, or whatever. None of those are really in the purview of SSG. Now, SSG certainly has been struggling to improve server performance and client experience in the game, so I don't want to paint this as an all rosy picture. But when people say I have lag without identifying where that lag is happening, I'm experiencing problems that are probably due to server load, or I'm experiencing lag but I don't know where it's from. Like, those are two different statements. Anyway, so yeah, if you're getting 90% packet loss, that strikes me as something that is not a LOTRO or SSG thing. That's a connection problem, and certainly it impacts your experience playing the game. But unless it's actually because the servers are sending you packets that you're not receiving, but again, they tried to send it, so it's lost, but why was it lost? Or you sent a packet and you didn't receive a response, Why didn't you receive a response? That could be because of a problem at the LOTRO end, but there's a lot of other causes as well. But it looks like Wizik has posted from a Twitter post, or has reposted a Twitter post saying game instability. We are currently working to resolve instability in the game environment. We will keep you updated. At this time, login is not available. All right, well, I guess I shouldn't log out right now. And that might explain why I'm seeing connection with server lost right now. So there's an acute issue that they are aware of. Cool. Zik in chat thinks that they need to make servers in the EU. I'm in the Netherlands, which I appreciate is on the western side of the EU, but my connection with the server, even during this problem, a latency of 106 milliseconds feels a little high to me, but it certainly feels very playable most of the time. So I can appreciate moving servers to this side of the ocean could reduce, due to the speed of light, any delay between you and the servers by a little bit. But if you do the multiplication out, I forget what it actually is, but it just does not take light that long to travel across the ocean. So the distance between you and the servers that is made greater by being on the other side of an ocean probably isn't as big of a factor in connectivity issues as you would want to think. Like, oh, it's a huge ocean. It really is, but not from the perspective of a beam of light traveling through fiber optic cables, or even electricity traveling. Those things move very fast. Hey, Arthur says, for rating, you may only need one plugin. For timers on boss mechanics, etc., Gibberish or Prime are good for that, but there are many different needs/wants from the user community, and thus hundreds of plugins available and popular. Yeah, absolutely. Like, it is part of the Prime collection of plugins, but I really adore Prime bags, and I'd use the rest of Prime not at all. So your mileage may vary. Yeah, Tellurian saying better than what I said. Speaking of lag, I pretend well, not even pretend. Speaking of lag, there are 5 sources of what we call lag. Your computer, your connection, the internet itself, the connection for SSG, and SSG stuff. And there I would separate out SSG hardware and SSG software. Might even do that on yours. Your computer's hardware and your software could be 2 different sources of it. Though they're often tied together. Zix says SSG only needs to rent a server in EU, maybe in Germany or the Netherlands. Again, I don't think the distance light has to travel across the ocean contributes as much delay as it sounds like you think it does. I'm just doing a quick search because I'm curious if there's an obvious answer. All right. If I was in the Netherlands and I was going over to New England, I don't know, around there, then that is about, let's call it 6,000 kilometers. It says, I highly advise not traveling to another location because I just traveled to Moria from Bree and I'm stuck in a loading screen. Well, fair enough. Okay, so speed of light in a vacuum equals, we'll go ahead and round up. Meters per second. Distance. This is, well, it is 6,000 kilometers, which is 6,000 kilometers, which if we go ahead and throw another 1,000 on there, that many meters. I feel like I've done something wrong there. Those numbers are too close together. But the reality is it takes much less than a second for that, even if I've got it right. Well, if I've done my math right, and I've probably done my math wrong, then it's maybe contributes 20 milliseconds of delay for light to travel the distance that we're talking about between Massachusetts and the Netherlands. So that would say that the rest of it is due to other factors that would not be affected, probably, by there being a server over in Europe. So I guess for anyone who fixates on where the servers are as the primary cause of their problems, I'd want to see more reasons why why you thought the distance was contributing more than 20 milliseconds of delay. And again, that's if I've done my math correct, which I'm not even sure I have. Someone check my numbers. Doing math on stream live is fraught with danger. But yeah, double check my math. Check me if I'm wrong. But if you're experiencing latency of noticeable amount, like I'm experiencing 500 milliseconds of latency, the vast majority of that is not because of the distance between Europe and Boston. It might be because of other things, by being separated by an ocean, but the distance isn't the thing. Captain Awesome. Even if your math is off, it wouldn't be off by a big enough amount for it to matter for your argument. You're on point. Well, thank you for not spotting an obvious flaw with my math. Okay, let's go ahead and finish up what we're working on right now so that I can let you all go, and we'll definitely be working on this for a while. Okay, so, maybe I did finish that. We're going to go ahead and save all. Already saved, good. We're going to reload this. And we're going to do some basic testing. So, changing the wallet position there. Changing the position of here. Oh, good. Attempt to index field L. Wallet window. Where was that? Line 44. Yep. Left top, and there we go. Left and top. Okay, that's a funny thing to have missed. Tellurian says, I remember ping times of around 20 to 25 milliseconds in Codemaster's times. Currently, it is 100 to 110 milliseconds. Sure, and I could definitely believe a minimum of 20 milliseconds of that is due to the extra distance. But I suspect the game has changed a lot since Codemaster's times, so the fact that you could talk to the servers more quickly there might be other things at play. Okay, so we've loaded this. So if we drag that over, and it's still visible, we go ahead and reload this. Okay, let's take a look, and that window's in the right place. So we've probably got everything going right there. All right, Egg Arthur has a correction. All right, Egg Arthur thinks the speed of light in fiber optic glass is slower, about 2.2 times 10 to the 8th. Speed of light in fiber optic cable. Not that I disbelieve you, Egg Arthur, but I was doing a little trust but verify there. Yeah, I see some similar numbers. Someone else says 90 to 96% the speed of light. Well, that would be 73%. Assuming that's correct, sure, that could add a little extra time as well. And of course, there's networking equipment on either side of things. Looks like my latency has been pretty consistently around 100 milliseconds with 0% lost. So being in the Netherlands isn't specifically causing me delays, and I find it very playable at 100 millisecond lag. Maybe I would notice it if it was suddenly 20 milliseconds, but yeah, it seems like there's other bigger things at play for performance issues. Okay, so we have parameterized all of these entries, and at this point, I'm going to go ahead and use current for all of those. And I think this is a really good starting point for what this needs to look like in order to be able to have these things generically based off of an arbitrary token instead of having to write this code out for every token. Let's take a look at some of the changes that we've made. Oh, Emerald Silver piece. Don't need that. Okay, in wallet controls, instead of all of those, we've spelled it out more. We can actually see this side by side a little bit better with an external program. And I feel like WI lock X reads a little bit nicer as position left of wallet. Wallet window, left and top. We have left and top here. Awesome. Fall Festival tokens. Oh, we did want to go ahead and commit that. Removed unused control file. Okay. Background. In the background.lua, we can see that if we had a lookup that converted WI to wallet, or if that was WI, then this would be a very trivial thing. Zeus, notice I've just lost connection with the chat server. That's happened a number of times. Actually, yeah, it's happening pretty regularly, as they are presumably doing things on their end. Tellurian wanted to say that an EU server would probably reduce the delay of internet connection, that ping time, that latency time. I agree that it would remove distance from the equation. However, given that your account is a multi-server thing, things like LOTRO points are done across multiple accounts. Whenever you needed to look up stuff that was account-wide and not just per server, that would either still need to talk to a US server, or they would need to duplicate that data in both locations. And replication comes with its own challenges and its own cost. In general, all the data, they would probably want to be replicating that back across. So you're asking for a more complex environment, and while it would probably lead to lower delay times, that's assuming everything else was the same. So I think, it's a lot of work to set something up like that and have it work well. That would take a lot of attention to set up and require additional workforce to maintain for some benefit, but not necessarily a guaranteed benefit. And for the technical people who are doing that, they might have higher priorities in just reducing game lag for everyone, regardless of what they are in the system, if those are the same people who might be spearheading this kind of a project. So I can understand why, from an SSG perspective, if the same resources, the same people, would be in charge of hunting down performance issues in the client for everyone versus spearheading the effort to spin up new servers in geographically distant locations, I can see why they would prefer the former over the latter. But I have no specific insight in how they're doing that. But Bowen says, "Hail, hello. We're just finishing up here. We're just kind of reviewing some of the changes that we have been doing. I don't know if I'm ready to commit these in, but maybe we could go ahead and do that. What's up with this? All the shows. Yep. Yeah, I think what I would say is we're going to go ahead and commit this separately, this little comment. Moved comment, so code collapsing works correctly. So that's just going to go in by itself. The rest of this, man, I don't remember making that many changes. There's a lot of redundancy here. Okay, so took first step in parameterizing global variables. Okay, so that is everything in here. And we're just going to give it a quick little look here. So settings, current, all of that is fine. I don't even know if we need the current thing. I think that was a nice demonstration, but I'm actually going to remove that for right now. It'll make the diffs a little bit more obvious what is going on. Okay, let's go take a look at that. Okay, so now we can see wallet is still there on both sides. Instead of dot wallet, it's quote wallet, but it's still very much a part of it. I think that'll be a little bit more intuitive of what's going on. Okay, all of that looks great. Cool. So we're going to bring that in. Show wallet, blah, 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 all of that. Okay. Converted wallet globals. Neat. Okay. We'll even push those out. Zeus says, what types of games do people play? Well, besides Lord of the Rings Online and writing plugins for Lord of the Rings Online, or in this case, editing someone else's plugin, refactoring things, I've been really interested in the Planet Crafter recently, which very much feels like, I don't know, Minecraft meets the board game Terraforming Mars. Oh, Tillian says, not related to TitanBars. Is there a specific reason why festival tokens are not displayed in Festival Buddy 2? I can't think of a specific reason. It could just be a mistake. I made some recent changes with that. Let's take a let's take a look at Festival Buddy 2 real fast. Reload and load. So let's take a look at Anniversary. Which ones? Festival tokens. Anniversary tokens, steel tokens, mithril coins. Julian, which ones are you talking about? Festivity? Those from the instance. Okay. In English, they are festivity tokens. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. We're going to come on into Festival Buddy 2 for one of the hamsters. Fair enough. Okay, so there's a new thing. So that is the tokens.lua. And so for each generic festivity. All right, where are those? Okay, that was a mistake on my that was a fault on my end, Telerian. All you need to do, if you come into tokens.lua on line 174, you can see for anniversary, I said yes, include Mithril, and no, don't include festivity. If you just change that to true, and then reload Festival Buddy, you'll see your festivity tokens under anniversary. Delirium, don't worry about the translation thing. I just wanted to make sure I was looking at the same thing you were. So that was the problem there. That was my bad. So spring, harvest math, Yule, anniversary. No, spring, yes. You know what? I should have been better about making sure. I'll make a note here for later. Delirium says, did not look at the code. No, it's the problem is definitely in the code. It's not in your save file. This is in tokens.lua. I'll type it in here. Tokens.lua, line 174, set replace with generic festivity equals true. If you do that and reload the plugin, you will see it working just fine. It'll show you how many festivity tokens you have. This was part of a refactoring that I did because internally in Festival Buddy 2, because Festival Buddy did this, every festival had its own entry for mithril coins or festivity tokens in this case. Festivity tokens weren't there, but there was a mithril coin entry, a different type of currency for each festival, and for each character, and it just needed to be fixed. And so I changed how that worked, and I didn't do that correctly here. So I made a note here. The next time I push out a Festival Buddy update, I will hopefully set that correctly for each of the festivals that has a festivity instance. And that is seasonal instance, anniversary, farms for spring, and Yule. So cool, thanks Telerian, thanks for letting me know. That's definitely a code issue. If you want to fix it on your end, you have that, but no worries. So cool, thank you Telerian. With that being said, I think we've reached a really good stopping point. We've seen what some of this refactoring is going to look like, and a lot of it is kind of manual work. And so some of it I'm going to try to do on my own. Oops, one more. Some of this I'm going to try to do on my own because there's a lot of variables here, and it's just making sure that you do it correctly. Now that we have these named the way we want to, that's weird. Where did we put it? I'm confused. Oh no. Well, I'm glad I just committed everything because when I hit the update button in LOTRO Plugin Compendium, it just downloaded everything fresh, and that would have caused a lot of data loss if I had not already committed things. So randomly clicking things bad. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get rid of those. Nope. 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 Don't delete that. Don't do that. And don't do that. Awesome. This is why we have source control. Tellurian says you'll send me a German translation soon. Awesome, please do. So with these, now that we have the names that we want for all of these things, future changes are going to be a lot more straightforward to do. So I may try to do some of that over the next week. And either way, next time we're going to keep on making this happen so that we can spot places where we can replace large blocks of code with some loops and just remove a lot of the redundancy in the code. Zeus looks like they're quoting from an SSG release. Known issues. The crafting panel is not working correctly in this build. It is a work in progress to incorporate the new fourth profession option. Please don't submit bugs. Oh, that looks like it's over on the test server. Nice. Oh, Julian says I added more stuff with just English labels. Yeah, that sounds like me. Thank you for spotting that and sending stuff along. Okay. With that all being said, I think we've reached a really good breaking point for today. We made great progress, had some fun discussions about plugins and not plugins, and it's time for me to head to bed. So that's all we are going to cover today. Thank you so much for joining me on this exploration of LOTRO plugins. I hope to see you all here next week, and until then, keep plugging along. All right, bye-bye now.